We're dedicating this edition of CNN Student News to our audience in Japan. The world is watching in support, and you are not alone. The nation of Japan is reeling today, trying to recover from a devastating natural disaster. The earthquake hit the island nation on Friday. It registered a magnitude of 8.9. That makes it the most powerful quake to hit Japan in at least 100 years. There were reports over the weekend that the quake moved the main island of Japan, the entire island, by 8
Darud, as you and your families come together to celebrate Nowruz, I want to extend my best wishes to this new spring and new year. Around the world, and here in the United States, you're gathering at the Nowruz table to give thanks for loved ones, reflect on your blessings, and welcome all the possibilities of a new season. As I have every year as president, I want to take this opportunity to speak directly to the people and leaders of Iran. Since taking office, I've offered the Iranian government an opportunity. If it meets its international obligations, then there could be a new relationship between our two countries, and Iran could begin to return to its rightful place among the community of nations. I have no illusions about the difficulty of overcoming decades of mistrust. It will take a serious and sustained effort to resolve the many differences between Iran and the United States.
Plane withstood the flight and didn't just fold under the pressure. But what they should have done is charge money to check the whole thing out, make the whole thing up.
I am glad that you have me given the opportunity of expressing to you here my deep sense of gratitude as a man, as a good European, and as a Jew. It will not be my task today to act as judge of the conduct of a nation which for many years has considered me as her own. We are concerned not merely with the technical problem of securing and maintaining peace, but also with the important task of education and enlightenment.
There was one day when I was a writer before I was the anchor of CNN Student News, and I was feeling kind of punchy at the end of the show. And so
Estoy muy feliz por ser el jugador más caro de la historia del fútbol. Me da un cierto orgullo. Y bueno, yo voy a intentar demostrar que pagaron un dinero cierto por mí.
Y la respuesta siempre es bueno salir al extranjero.
Well, I have to say thank you to all supporters, my boss, my friends, my teammates. Because I've been 6 years in the club, and of course I have friends there, good relationship with all people there. But the people will understand my decision, and the people respect that. Of course, it's a great challenge now. The people know my dream is to play in Madrid, and but I'm gonna miss many things in Manchester, but this is the life.
What's interesting, Rajiv, is over the course of time I've spent anchoring CNN Student News, I've gotten a couple marriage proposals by a couple ladies in our audience, and I've always found that flattering, but I've always had to say no because
I love the sort of the insularity of Mr. Bean, this sort of self-centeredness which reflects in the fact that, if I have to get myself into the part, I don't need another person or a situation or a prop in order to create him. You just have to, it's always about him and where he sits in the world. He's he's got a sort of an invisible shell around him.
Yeah. He's hugely popular internationally, isn't he?
Yes, it is bizarre actually. It's something that I try not to think about very much, because actually if I ever do, stop and dwell on how well known my face is in so many obscure corners of the world, that I think I would find it rather disturbing.
Are you made aware of it when you go abroad?
I'm being slightly disturbed about it, even talking about it. Yes, I'm aware. No, you hear extraordinary things about, like a friend of mine making a documentary for Comic Relief and going into Africa, into some of the most deprived areas of Africa, and going to this, little African village where there's no water, no electricity, no services, and nothing, no food, in all likelihood, and just a few huts, and in the largest hut, the entire village was gathered, and there was a grainy, tiny black and white screen showing a Mr. Bean video.
What you're dealing with now takes time, and change comes much slower.
Well, I think the IT industry at times does move very quickly, but we founded Microsoft back in 1975, And the personal computer revolution, I don't think, was evident to the population at large for over 20 years. And it's only now, with the internet changing so much of how we do things, that people see, wow, this digital revolution's a big deal. There's still more to be done there. Education, health, many areas are not yet revolutionized. And so as I focus now on the poorest and their needs, I can tap into the same kind of innovation, brilliant scientists, people who work in the field, and I can say that, hey, in 10 years, we can reduce malaria by half. 3 years or so, we should be able to get polio to be the second disease that's completely eradicated. So the time frames aren't that different.
Narito na. Wimpo! Okay, pivotara. Pomelo?
Plane withstood the flight and didn't just fold under the pressure. But what they should have done is charge money to check the whole thing out, make the whole thing up.